Hey guys, for this video, the matchup I want to discuss is a match between Punchline versus Harley Quinn. You got two, ex-mistresses slash Jezebels of the Joker. As you guys know, the Joker's the Prince of Crime. He kind of just does whatever he wants to do. Who do I think would win? You got Punchline, kind of this newer character in DC, I believe, kind of a newer character for the Batman mythos. I believe she was a college student that kind of became infatuated slash idolized the Joker. She kind of got behind his message, his cruelty, just his overall insanity. And then she ended up adopting the mythos, not the mythos, but I said the alter ego of Punchline, kind of becoming like his girlfriend or, mistress of basically crime. Who is Harley Quinn? Harley Quinn, I believe, was his therapist. Much like Punchline, it kind of got this similar parallel. She kind of fell in love with the Joker also in her own way. She ended up taking on the alter ego of Harley Quinn as well. Well, I don't think she ever, that's Harley Quinn is who she is, but she kind of, changed who she was into like this more Jokerized character and kind of became his mistress of crime also. As many of you know, she kind of left the Joker, kind of did her own thing. But who I think would win? This matchup, I think is pretty decisive on who I think would win. I think, Punchline is a newer character, unfortunately. I actually like Punchline more than I like Harley Quinn, though she is newer. I kind of like her aesthetic. I like her origins, and she seems a little bit more nutty than somebody like Harley Quinn. I think Harley Quinn has became too mainstream. I think that now she kind of lost her real identity of just being kind of crazy and being a villainous character. I think, DC is trying to turn her basically into a hero. It's like, nah, Harley Quinn isn't a hero. She's at best, she's an anti-hero, and at worst, she's just a straight-up villain. I don't think she should be a hero, let alone be a part of the Bat family. But hey, man, that's just a random tangent I'm having. Let's get back on topic. Who would win? Obviously, Harley Quinn has more feet. She's an older character. Harley Quinn, I believe, has enhancements due to taking like blood transfusions from Poison Ivy. So she has, peak human strength, peak human, endurance, speed, and all that. Well, not only that, but I don't think Punchline really has that dog in her like Harley Quinn does when it comes to just fighting. In a bare knuckle, just like, nasty fight, I don't think somebody like Punchline can really hang in there with Harley Quinn. I think, Punchline might be slightly bigger than Harley Quinn when it comes to just overall just being a bigger person naturally. So I think she does have more muscle mass, maybe slightly taller. That's not really going to mean that much with somebody that has enhancements anyway. Not only that, but, Punchline doesn't really rely, at least in my opinion, on just physical might like somebody like Harley Quinn. And they both use gadgets, but I think that's kind of more of her niche. Like, she's not really a brawler type character. She's more like, somebody uses trickery, gadgets to kind of get the better wits of you. Somebody like Harley Quinn being a member of the Suicide Squad. So she's kind of adopted slash, kind of mastered this unorthodox, very skillful, surprisingly, kind of fighting style that's kind of hard to predict. It overwhelms you. And she's surprisingly really strong and fast. I can kind of just, overwhelm somebody that doesn't really know what they're doing, slash, even if you're